प्रिय विद्यार्थियों, एक बार फिर से आपका स्वागत है ऑनलाइन क्लास में। बीए पार्ट फर्स्ट के विद्यार्थियों के लिए पेपर फर्स्ट में नोवेल विलियम शेक्सपियर का नोवेल प्रेस्क्राइब्ड है, एज यू लाइक इट। डियर स्टूडेंट, टुडे फर्स्ट वी विल टॉक अबाउट द playwright William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born at Stratford upon Avon in April 1564. He was the eldest son of John Shakespeare and Mary Orden. His father was one of the most prosperous men of Stratford. Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway in December 1582. Shakespeare had 3 children, Susan, daughter, and twins Hamlet and Judith. Little is known of Shakespeare's early life. There is one tradition that he fled from Stratford because he was in trouble for deer stealing. This, however, is not universally accepted. There is another tradition that he was for some time a schoolmaster. From 1592 onwards, records of his life and activities are much fuller. In the autumn of 1592, Robert Greene, the best known of the professional writers, as he was dying, wrote a letter to 3 fellow writers in which he warned them against an upstart crow who supposes he is as much able to bombast out a blank verse as the best of you. This is the first reference of Shakespeare. It suggests that Shakespeare had become suddenly famous as playwright. In April 1593, Shakespeare published his poem Venus and Adonis, which was dedicated to the young Earl of Southampton. By 1594, Shakespeare had written about 9 plays. Soon afterwards, he wrote the first of his greater plays, Romeo and Juliet. In 1598 Christmas, the players re-erected a new playhouse on the south bank of the Thames. This playhouse was named the Globe. The expenses of this new building were shared by more important members of the company, including Shakespeare. At that time, Shakespeare was a prosperous man. In 1598, Shakespeare was recognized as the greatest of English dramatists. Booksellers were publishing his popular plays. A contemporary young writer named Francis Meres, in a long catalogue of English authors, gave Shakespeare more prominence than any other writer. Queen Elizabeth I died in 1603. King James proved a more enthusiastic patron of plays. In the early years of King James' reign, Shakespeare wrote All's Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure, Othello, Macbeth, and King Lear. Since 1601, Shakespeare had been writing less. There were now a number of rival dramatists who were introducing new styles of drama. Chief amongst them were Ben Jonson. Johnson's every man in his humor was acted by Shakespeare's company. He still wrote a few plays, chiefly tragicomedies. The Tempest was one of the plays written during these days. For the last 4 years of his life, he lived in retirement. His son Hamlet died in 1596. Shakespeare died on April 23rd, 1616. He was buried in the channel of the church. So, this was the introduction of the playwright William Shakespeare. Now we will talk about the play As You Like It. William Shakespeare's play As You Like It is a dramatization of Thomas Lowe's personal pastoral romance, Rosalind Euphues's Golden Legacy. Lowes himself had used an older source of the tale of Gamelin, a medieval poem. There is no evidence, however, that Shakespeare had any acquaintance with his older source. Shakespeare drew heavily from his source for As You Like It, but he also modified it greatly. In Low's romance, the rightful king is restored to his throne only after the Spur has been killed in Shakespeare's play. Frederick is converted by the old religious man rather than being killed. Lowes presents the counterparts of Celia and Oliver as falling in love when he rescues her from the hands of robbers. Shakespeare entirely omits this scene. Shakespeare compresses the time involved in his story. He also adds a number of new characters of these. The most striking contributions are Touchstone, Jacques, William, and Audrey. Touchstone is particularly interesting since he looks forward to Hamlet and other characters of Shakespeare's plays. James R. Lindor comments a comparison of As You Like It with Rosalind with will indicate that by the changes he made, Shakespeare shifted the emphasis from peasantry and physical spectacle to psychological interest and the development of comedy. The title, As You Like It, was probably suggested by a phrase in Low's preface to his novel. If you like it so, and yet I will be yours in duties, if you will be mine in favor. The significance of the title is apparent from the epilogue. I charge you, O woman, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as please you. And I charge you, O man, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by simpering none of you hates them, that between you and the women the play may please. Although As You Like It is listed in Stationer's Register, is an entry made on August 4, 1600. The text itself did not appear until the publication of the first folio in 1633. Since the play is not listed by Francis Mary in his discussion of Shakespeare's in Palladius Tamia, the date of composition is generally considered to be 1599 or 1600. Interval evidence such as the quotation from Hero and Leander, which was published in 1598, also supports this as a date of composition. So, this was a general introduction of the play As You Like It. Hope you enjoyed, students.